Welcome back, everyone, to a very special holiday episode. The only thing making it a holiday is the fact that it's dropping 2 days before Christmas. But Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and whatever to everybody out there.
Boxing Day.
Yes. It's great to see the holiday season returning. You know what's not going to be returning? E3, because it's dead.
Yeah, what a outcome. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming at all. I forgot that it hadn't been held in person in 3 years. It's weird.
I think they finally made it out of that whatever stage of denial or grief it was.
Yeah, they're like, we are not recovering our deposits on the event spaces. And it's time to officially say that E3 is done. Which it went out with a whimper. Like, I saw a few people, mostly like YouTube personalities, being like, memories. But most of the gaming media being like, yeah, kind of made sense, right?
Yeah, it's like it wasn't a shock to anybody, that's for sure. And yeah, like you said, all the memories were like at least 5 years ago.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
The last 5 years, it was pretty pathetic already.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, in an age where physical media is not going to be available soon, there's no reason to have a showcase like that. Although Jeff Keighley sort of insists on keeping that dream alive, but in the guise of Game Awards, which really aren't. Did you watch it? Any of it?
I usually do watch it every year.
Okay. I caught the last hour.
Okay.
I saw a lot of games. I saw some thumbnails on awards and winners. I saw very few like people in the industry get their like 5 seconds of or 15 minutes of fame though, which is weird.
Yeah, they last year there was a voice actor guy who went on for like 5 minutes on a acceptance speech and kind of ruined it for everybody, I think. They kind of went into this one saying that that's not going to happen again this year, and they kind of cut him short.
Yeah. Here's my thing is like, I get the need for exclusives and premieres to like fund the event, but like maybe pre-show though, like everything you're not going to do on camera, you have these people come through in an acceptance stage with a live audience, a smaller one, maybe even just their peers, and like present them the award, let them speak, edit it down to like what fits the show. But like, don't just be like, welcome back. Best like fart of the year was Fart Stain McFarty from Fart Stain Studio. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that it's not honoring the people that it's intended to honor. And it's just kind of like turning into like an E3 anyway, right? Like it's just a news machine.
Yeah, it is a bummer that they, because it's live, they can't really do a thing where, edit out a longer, if for the people that want to see the developers talk and accept or whatever, have a longer form version or something like that. There's not really a way to do that if you're doing it live.
Sure, but even just like a post show where you let those people think they're people, and then you posted each of those award winners videos separately on like another thing, which you also monetized. You also put trailers on. You know what I mean?
Oh no! What have you done?
You let the Bic Man rape them and shave their asses clean. It just didn't feel. It felt like it was all spectacle in the 40 minutes to an hour that I caught, and not at all representative of like the industry, especially because like I tuned in and caught like the game of the year, and I looked up the numbers. Like from a core gaming perspective, yes, Baldur's Gate 3 sold like 5 million more copies than Tears of the Kingdom, but are you honestly fucking telling me that that's a better game of the year? Like when every other platform has been like, well, minus PC Gamer has been like, no, it's definitively Tears of the Kingdom. Because I mean, I'm not saying Baldur's Gate 3 is not great, but I love the Baldur's Gate games. I like even, the Dark Alliance shit, but like, come the fuck on.
Yeah.
You told me that reinvented the top-down, like tactical RPG game. Like, no, it didn't.
No, I mean they had a series before that called Divinity Original Sin,
Right.
and they did so good on that's why they got this game, you know. So it's like, well, if how could a how much of a bigger step is it? I haven't played it. I do want to play it.
Sure. Me
I'm
too.
sure it's great. Zelda also though is like, well, it is better than all the other games, but I mean it's the whole like it is iterative of Breath of the Wild, you know, so it
It
holds it back a
is.
little bit.
But it's iterative in like such a massive way that even I am like, it should have gotten its dues.
Yeah,
Even though I'm probably less hyped on it than Breath of the Wild, right?
yeah. I
I
mean,
just
we're discussing a show that a few years ago It Takes Two as the game of the year. So
well, 2 years ago, yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I love that game, but I don't think I could defend it quite to that extent.
Well, and I've seen some game of the year lists too, where like Jasant is up there, like one of your games. And I played the first hour of that game, and that's just weird climbing. Like, I'm sorry, like
That's all it is. Yeah.
it's just awkward controlled climbing. Like,
Yep.
I feel like I'm wiggly arm, wacky arm guy, but instead of falling down the wall, I'm climbing up. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
And I like that kind of stuff, but that is not game of the year material.
No, and it's it tries to do more artsy stuff on top of that, but it's not.
Sure.
It's not saying much.
I'm going to go back to it and probably finish it because I want to, but still, I can already tell you that it's not. It is on a top 10 game of the year list game, and I've seen it on a couple.
No.
So,
Yep.
what also pisses me off about the game, well, we're deviating from Game Awards a bit, which again I thought was kind of a just waste of space, but I cannot get over the amount of Game of the Year lists that include RE4 remake, like a game that's been ported, remade, upresed,
Like,
VR'd,
done
since
like
its
so many
inception.
different things. Yeah.
Right. Like, do we have to put this in the Game of the Year? Like, there are original IPs that got put out. There's no way that like,
Yeah.
I don't care how good of a remake it is. No.
Like I know like 2 and 3 when those were done, those scored really well too.
Sure.
And those
Nobody
at
was like
least
Game of the Year.
I think 2 was getting up there.
Was it?
But
Okay.
at the same time, like you think about the jump from Resident Evil 2 to a modern game like that. That's huge. But like 4, there's not that. I mean, we're still piggybacked off of modern, how modern RE4 was.
Yeah.
I wish, spoiler alert on on our game that we're going to be talking about later. I wish there's a little bit of RE4
Yeah.
type
Right.
controls in that game. But
yes. Well, and RE4 did give us the Gears saga, so
Yep.
But yet nobody's like, I want a Gears remake because we already got that. Nobody was like, that's game of the year. But RE4 gets one. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
This year was kind of weird. I think there was a lot of good games, but at the same time, there was nothing that was transcendent. I guess I don't know.
Well, it's tough when there's crippling financial hurt across every industry and consumer base. So
yeah,
I did see those numbers though on like PlayStation and Xbox, and like it's wild to me how far PlayStation has pulled ahead, like compared to Xbox, because like Xbox has a pretty good offering. I just didn't realize like it was that far behind. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, I don't know what it is though. Is it the games that are really?
Yeah, Miles Morales is really sold. Spider-Man 2. It's got to be though.
I guess. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the Insomniac stuff, but like that Ratchet and Clank game didn't make money. So like,
right.
And The Last of Us, they've been working on that multiplayer thing, and they canceled that. Now it's like Sony's games seem like they're hurting.
Yeah.
So it's weird that
it just feels like Xbox hasn't crawled itself out of the hole it dug with the one.
No.
That was the damage they did, was like that arrogance into a generation just crushed them. But everything was there minus the S. I really think it's the S that holds them back. But
Yeah, but at the same time, what would the console numbers look like if they didn't have the S2, if they don't have that?
Well, that's true because it does
Because
sell it.
that's, yeah.
Was there anything Xbox related that like even because Starfield would have been the only one, right? And like
Mhm.
that got snubbed. So
I think, I mean, Forza was like best racing,
sure,
maybe, or one of those, but
yeah.
yeah. I did. Did you catch the very first game that they announced though?
Mm-mm.
Hmm. They're remaking Brothers.
Oh, I did see a blurb on that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do to remake that. Like,
It didn't look all that different to
right?
me,
It's
but
like it made you think and finally patch in that like stage 2 bug that like cripplingly ends your game unless you reset. But like, yeah, I was excited about that. I was like, I'll play through it again. I love that game.
yeah.
I just don't know what you would possibly add to it.
Hmm.
It'd be nice if they added like a new chapter, right? Like if you're gonna do like a prologue or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a precursor where you hang out with mom a little bit before you drown her in the lake.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Hang out with your dad a little bit
Let's get to
before.
know mom a bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's
Was it
just
the mom?
maybe
Yeah.
mom and dad run around and you control
Yeah.
them independently while they fuck. It's like, pelvic thrust, boner, pelvic thrust, boner.
You have to get the right rhythm between the sticks.
Yeah, that's right. Otherwise, climax isn't achieved and there's no game because there's no brothers,
Yeah.
Son just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Son, a tale of one son.
Yeah. At the end of the game, the sticks do nothing, just as a symbolic.
Dad didn't take his blue rhino or whatever. Blue chew. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I stand by that game. I like that game very much in a way that you appreciate Journey for the same reasons. So.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I think I'm just at a point where new games don't excite me all that much anymore. But
it's weird, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I realized the other day that I had a Humble Bundle that I bought like 18 months ago that was like for the full RE collection. And I was like, I never redeemed any of that on Steam. So like I looked through my emails. Sure enough, it's still in there. I was like, yeah, okay. I guess at some point I'll get to that. Hopefully these codes still work. But
yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, I got a little bit of a throwaway piece here I thought I'd touch on. Because it made me laugh. My kid, he was my kid, so this should surprise no one, came home with his homework. This is a graded, apparently this is like English, like a writing sentence structure paragraph. Came home with a graded printed piece of homework. He answered the question. The question was, can I have a later bedtime? His response is, I think I should have a later bedtime. I am 10 years old. I should be able to stay up as long as I want. I am a man now. Now I'm a man. So I should be able to play Fortnite as long as I want. The end.
Oh, I love it.
It's hilarious and embarrassing all at the same time as a parent.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was a man at 10 years old. I'm glad he's confident enough to pick that out. It's wonderful.
It's the man of the house now,
I guess. Yeah.
Wow, that's
well, this is following him coming home like 2 weeks ago with like how they'll do like published books, like buy the book for your kid, like the classroom book. And they had to like write about their feelings, and it came like a hardcover book that I'm sure we paid for. And the feeling he had to write about was like bored. And he's like, I am bored. Writing makes me bored. Reading makes me bored. I want to play Fortnite, so I'm not bored. It's like, great. I'm glad this is published in hardcover for like an entire classroom and their parents to see.
I'm sure like teachers just have to be at wit's end reading about Fortnite and Minecraft and
Riz and
whatever
else is happening out there.
Have has he gotten into any of those other new modes?
Not that I'm aware of. I asked him a little bit like about the Lego Fortnite because it was like, oh, it seems like you'd like that. And he's like, yeah. He's like, it's like Minecraft but crappier. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's about all I've heard. So
Yeah, it is kind of like that's the only one that we've played, and that it is like you want to build something and it shows you like the outline of the pieces that you would build with Legos, but it's like go get the wood pieces that make this piece of Lego, you know?
So you're just like filling it with resources, not actually crafting anything.
I don't so my kids love creative stuff, so they
Oh,
just go
gotcha.
into that mode all the time anyway, so I don't know what the actual loop of it is.
Makes sense.
But at least in creative they had to go build it too, you know. But
Right. I mean, it's kind of the perfect partnership. I mean, they're both sandbox IPs at this point, so
yeah, it's just like, but it's weird that it's like a separate thing because obviously they don't have like the guns to shoot each other or something. Like I don't think that's in there. That
really no shooting
side.
at all.
I don't think so.
Huh.
Not that I saw.
Well,
It
yeah,
looked
that's
like
weird.
it was just like a building survival thing.
So it's like the game they originally tended to build
Yeah. Yeah.
with Lego.
Yeah. But then even like the Rocket League thing is like it's just racing, isn't it?
Well, that's fair. I'm surprised they haven't done anything like closer to that in Fortnite yet.
Well, I mean they have the Rocket League racing now, isn't that what it's called?
Is that in
It's in
the game?
it's in Fortnite, yeah.
Oh shit! All right.
But I think it's racing. I don't know if it has anything to do with like hitting a ball around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I see a game Goat Simulator you've been playing. Is this 3 since it came to Game Pass?
Yeah. Kids got into that pretty hard.
Well, it pisses me off because I bought it for PS5 like 2 months ago, and now it's free on.
Oh.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it for like $10 the last few months and I'm like, that seems like it's going to be on Game Pass, and sure enough it showed up. So we've been playing that. That game, man, they've done a lot past, I mean, compared to that first game. They've really upped it.
Is there co-op and stuff now too?
Yep.
Okay.
So all the kids are all just wreaking havoc all over the place, you know.
How many people can you have on one screen?
I think 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, they've been having a lot of fun. There's so many just like jokes and references in there that are like over my kids' heads,
sure.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
The first thing it's like there's goat towers that you have to synchronize and stuff, and then of course it shows like all the different points of interest on the map that you have unlocked, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
who even remembers that from Assassin's Creed?
Well, I just like the intro too, like it's all like a total RPG, like or MMO intro where you're like strapped on a card, getting like a backstory told to you, and like dropped off in a strange community. And
Yep. Yeah. So like, it's the same intro as like what Skyrim does because you're in the back of a cart, and then like if you don't get out of the cart when the farmer drops the thing, he just eventually says, "Okay, time to get out of my Skyrim cart," or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
Are there
seeing all the
multiple
jokes
maps
in
and
there.
stuff too that you unlock eventually, like different characters? Or not there yet?
I don't think so. You can like go back to your like home castle, which a whole bunch of weird stuff you can do there.
Okay.
You can be way more than a goat in this game. You can be a lot of different stuff that you can unlock, and it's got like Tony Hawk grinding all over the place. And
I did see some of that. It's pretty wild. There's got to be a skateboard in there too, right?
There's a hammerhead that rides on a skateboard.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. He had at least my kids had sneakers on his fins, and that's how he pushed them. He pushed off the skateboard. So it was yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
This
I mean, I liked the hell out of the first game just for like the laughs, but yeah.
Yeah, they really supercharged it, and it's still like broken, but not in the way that like it's programmed to be broken this time, whereas like the first one, it was just like, it would be funny if we just left this piece of code to not work this way, right?
Right. So it's even more exaggerated and emphasized now, huh?
Yeah,
Plus that like graphical upgrade too. Like it was like God 10 years ago that the first one came out, I bet.
probably, yeah.
Plus I like that they just went to 3 because it was funnier than just
Yeah.
doing 2. So dumb.
Yeah, recommend, especially if it Game Pass, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I've seen what they've got coming to Game Pass in January and we'll have to play Goat Simulator.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I thought we should we'll get back to some other less heavy topics here, but like we should address a major topic that we just need to get out on the table. And I texted Andy about this in between recording. 'Cause I was out having a drink with my wife at a brewery. It was my birthday weekend, so we didn't have the kids. We were talking about podcasting and stuff, and had mentioned, the whole Nintendo podcast and like what a courtesy it would be to have your friends let you know ahead of time that they're going to leave your podcast and how informative and gracious that would be of them. And then somehow it got on the topic of like you and I still talking and being friends. And my wife looks at me and is like, I think the reason you get along with Andy so well is because he's just like me. It's like, and and here's why. Here's why. Because you're very easygoing and you're willing to take the things that come out of my mouth that make no sense and just shrug them off, which is a nice way of her saying like, I'm a bit much. Is what I feel like she was getting at. Which maybe she's not wrong, but like, I don't know. It's weird.
Well, you can't have two of the same people.
I mean, I guess
it just
not.
doesn't work, right?
But does that mean I'm like weirdly, like subconsciously also like physically attracted to you? And that's why this podcast continues after all these years?
I mean, we did start doing video at your request, I think. So,
yeah, and we've shared a number of beds on game hunting trips over the years. Has there ever been like a slip of the hand or like random grab ass that I'm not recalling?
That's possible. I guess I don't remember.
Okay, I feel like you'd remember that.
Well, maybe it wasn't memorable enough.
Which I'm totally fine with. But yeah, I was just off put by the whole thing. And it was just like, wow. Thanks, Freud.
Yeah, well, I was talking to my wife about that, and she said, well, Ryan is definitely like me, the more of the speaker in the in the relationship.
Because I'm a bit much, clearly.
So she said maybe Ryan's just like me then. I'm like, okay. But so now I can come back to her and say, yeah, I can go back to my wife now and say, if you're like Ryan, then you're being a bit much.
Yes. It's okay to be a bit much. You let her know that.
Yep.
Yes, I just thought it was hilarious though that like after texting that, like her spouse has decided like, yeah, you guys are like basically
that's about right.
You guys are a gay match in heaven. So
yep.
It's nice. I'm glad it's worked out. It's not at all weird and uncomfortable that our wives just like casually came to the same like fucked up conclusion. Not off-putting in the least. So.
No, they I think they were light years ahead of us on that conclusion. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. That explains a lot, I guess. So
yeah,
glad we got to the bottom of that. Yeah. Oh, what else you been up to?
Just doing some light video game development.
Oh, that sounds serious.
I don't know. For some reason, I started watching YouTube tutorials about Unity.
Okay.
Game programming, as you know, just for fun. Just for fun, yeah. I thought it would put me to sleep. Ended up watching a bunch of it, and then now I have Unity on my computer with different stuff going on. But no real idea or anything I really want to do. So I don't think it's really going anywhere. But
What do you have so far?
not much. Just like a guy that jumps around on like a ground.
Okay.
That's
Maybe
the
like
game.
maybe like a friendship meter like ranking game. Just pulling all this valuable feedback from what we've just discussed, and you can make a video game.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Yeah. Friends, enemies, lovers, casual.
It's like a dating sim, but you're trying to find your podcast
Yes.
partner.
Yes. Now you're on to something. Now you're on to something. Everybody who's 40 plus has a podcast, but not everybody can find their perfect like podcast.
Right.
You need this game. This could be a mobile app. This is great.
Yep.
This could be more than a game. This could be like a whole platform.
Yeah, you could really get into the real app, the dating app. Oh my gosh.
So many dick pics I can already tell. So are you going to continue working with Unity then, you think? Or
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just messing around. I think I'm just kind of interested in it because I know some of the language already. So it's just kind of like, oh, I can put graphics to it, and they, have easy ways to slice up graphics and stuff like that and make it work. So it's kind of cool to just play around in, but I can't think of a real.
I'm a little bit disappointed that you never like got your NES Maker stuff off the ground.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
That speaking
of
that would be cool.
Have you thought more about MGC? Are you going to try and make it? Or
Oh, you know me. I never think about it until like March.
I'm still very on the fence. Like, I really don't want to go, but my wife is like, the kids just love it so much. Now you got them involved. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Yeah. My kids have been asking when it is again.
You're pretty much roped in at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nothing you can do about it.
Yep. Yeah, I'll probably go. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll probably break down and do it too. But speaking of that, something I don't do much anymore outside of conventions, I went retro game hunting because I found a new spot.
Moo.
I found a new retro spot to me in Fargo. I happened to be out and about near my house at a Thai restaurant. And then as I got in my car, this Thai restaurant's in a strip mall, I look through the glass and there's like boxed Genesis consoles and stuff like in the window. And I was like, what the fuck? So it's like this FM computer and like cellular repair place. Tried to go visit them over the weekend. They're closed. Convenient. Went back yesterday and holy fuck. You know how convention pricing is usually like, I don't know, 80% more than retail? What if you just had a retail shop that no one knew existed, but you charge 250% times eBay prices? Do you think you'd do well?
Probably not on that aspect of the business. No.
So boxed Genesis console, I'm assuming it's all in there with the foam and everything. What would you expect? Sonic 3 variant. What would you expect that to go for?
$80? I don't know anymore, but
how about 240? RC Pro Am 2 loose cart. What do you suppose that goes for on price charting?
It's over 100, right?
Well, price charting hit it at 85, which I thought was a bit light. But they were asking 155, which is stupid. Yeah. They also had a full wall, 10 foot high by 6 foot wide of just sealed PS4 controllers, like new in box. Nobody's buying those.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think they got they must have got like a pallet of those or something?
I don't know what they did, but I don't know how you're moving inventory. Like, if you're literally charging 200% what it's worth at fair market value, how are you ever going to move any of it? And there was some okay stuff. Like, there was common NES games, like a handful of common NES games in their box. and let's assume the foam's in there, the game's in there, it's clean and manual. Like, still, nobody's gonna be paying like $35 for a box
No.
copy of Tetris. Nobody's paying $55 for a box copy of Tecmo Bowl. Like, this isn't stuff that's happening. I'm just like, what are you like? What are you doing? Because anyone who has a brain is going to come in here and never come back. And you'd have to be such a moron to stumble across that place looking for something like that that I just don't even get it.
Yeah, on top of like, yeah, not even knowing it existed in the first place, right?
100%. Right.
Like, yeah, then you're not even spending the marketing to go into the prices, you know, like what do you
Yeah.
I don't get it. And yeah, nobody's gonna walk in there and be like, oh yeah, I had RC Pro-Am as a kid, you know, I want to get that.
Right.
Spend that amount of money for it. But that's
and that was the only rare game I saw. Well, that's not true. There was some PlayStation stuff like Chrono Trigger. What does that go for? Is that 2 discs?
oh yeah.
Or Xenogears or anyway, one of those, and they had $140 on it.
Oh
I was
boy,
like, I'm
that
pretty sure
seems like a
that's not
lot.
right either.
No.
So
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
I walked in very excited because I was like, even if they're eBay price, I'm gonna walk out with something. And then I was like, what in the fuck are we doing?
Wow. That's right in that strip mall right by you there?
Yep.
Wow.
And then they're thrashed. Well, not right by me. It's over on 25th, I guess. It's a little way. It's by me, but so they're thrashed Nintendo powers, like to give context. Like the chewed up, like every kid's looked at this, sticky pages. They had a stack of those that were $5 a piece, but then every other Nintendo Power was individually sealed and individually priced, anywhere from $20 to $35 that I saw.
Huh.
Which I've never seen. I've never seen
No.
anyone individually grade, other than the first and the last issue.
The first few, yeah, I've seen.
Yeah,
they really get into, but yeah,
it was so stupid.
Huh. Yeah, that's. I don't even know how that. I mean, obviously they aren't doing that as their only business. Otherwise, it would just not work. Period.
Right.
But even like as a piggyback thing, like what? I don't. Who's doing that? Who's coming in there and upsell? How are you getting upselled on something like that? Anyway?
And where are they getting their inventory? Because I guarantee you, if they're charging that much, they're not paying out either. So they're probably cheap on both ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it was a little shocking. I just didn't get it. We're so far past that point. Like, it's so easy with the cell phone to just know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And nobody wants to. I mean, if you're at some place, you don't really want to, buy it for that price. You know, yeah. You want to save a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, save convention prices for conventions and save whatever the fuck prices those are for. I don't know. The Holocaust. Not sure what those were for. So.
Maybe they were like thinking. Maybe they started doing that during the pandemic, and they thought it was like 10% above pandemic prices, and now everything's come down. I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible, but I was just like, I mean, I wanted RC Pro-Am too, right? But like, what am I going to be like? Hey, this is worth half of what you're fucking asking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to come to negotiating at that. Yeah, right. Even though you're the reasonable one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't get it. It's just wild.
It's wild that's a new one has popped up. I mean,
they won't be there long, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, they might be selling drugs out of there too, which is totally possible. Which in that case, they'll be fine.
Well, if there's drugs inside the cartridges, well, then that's a different story. But
I will say they are open from like 11 to 7 Monday through Friday, and I got there at noon and had to wait outside because they already had like a "be back in 10 minutes" sign. Like, I've been open for a fucking hour. Like, what are you doing?
Get lunch before. Yeah.
Yeah. No shit. Be in a bucket. Yeah. You been doing anything else then?
No, not really. I do want to bring up a new board game.
Oh, board game.
Yeah, it's called Super Punch Fighter, and it's the theme is fighting video game like Street Fighter or something like that.
Okay.
Um, you're all on a board with different characters, and you try and get close to the other person so you're within attack range. But the main mechanic of it is you get button cards, which are A, B, C, D, and their attack, block, all
Sure.
this stuff like it would be on a real thing. And each of them have different. You press one button, you get to move to. You press one button to block. Um, but then you also usually have a hand of cards that are your combos, which list out a certain number of buttons that you need to press to be able to pull those off. And at the end of your turn, you can only uncover 4 of your buttons, I think, and then you lose your buttons. You have to go get more buttons again.
Okay.
But it's got a really strong theme too. That type of old school fighting game. And pressing buttons and getting combos down.
Meticulously getting those combos. Yeah.
Yes. Waiting until like the person has already used their blocks, and then just laying down like 4 cards. And even though you're burning up some of your buttons that you're not going to get back,
Sure.
you're just laying into like huge combos and basically like murdering them.
Does it spoof like characters from like mainline fighting games too, or not really?
A little bit. There. I wish it did more. It doesn't.
Sure.
It seems like it's more just like monster character based.
Okay.
With some
Which that's kind of cool too, like kaiju stuff. And,
goofy writing kind of mixed into it. But
Sure. Where'd you find this one at?
I got it cheap on a website called Miniature Market. They were like, this was all the shit that didn't sell during Black Friday. So they marked everything like $4. So one day I had 3 giant big boxes of games that showed up to my door. That was, they were like,
you're just like, I'll take one of all, please.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I got like probably 20 new games at least.
Wow, Jesus. So we're gonna have a board game corner for a while.
I don't know. A lot of these are probably like, they were $4 for a reason, but this one was, I had a good time with it. I don't know if like maybe the theme stuck with me more.
Sure.
Made it more fun, but
it's understandable.
But
yeah, I think the only other thing new that I've played or we've played is we finally unboxed. Well, we unboxed Samba de Amigo. It's exactly what you'd expect it to be. I would say it's very liberal in the sense that it doesn't so much care where your arms are as long as you hit on rhythm. And even if you hit in between rhythm, like it doesn't seem like it tracks misses. Like it's very generous on that. Which like in between, you know what I mean? Like if you're ahead or behind, like it doesn't penalize you. Like as long as you hit it on the head, you're okay. So progression's easy. But that 1-2 switch, god damn, that's a good game for like families, because like you just go right to the party mode where it's like cell phones, because like you can play 1 to 8 people with Joy-Con, or you can do 1 to 100 people with smart devices, right? So like we've just been diving into those, and they have like 20, 40, or 60-minute matches. And there's like timing games where you have to like count the timer on like your food when you're gonna pull it out. There's this annoying as fuck I don't know, like Squid Game, like red light, green light game with this annoying little fucking kid who like, I see you moved. And, like, I want to punch him in the head. There's like bingo, there's trivia. I don't know. It's just all like really fun in a non-Nintendo way, in a way that you, like the smartphone integration, like the way it plays out, it's very Jack in the Box and doesn't feel like a Nintendo product. I don't know that I'd recommend that game at like whatever price it retailed at, but like if you can get it for like $20 or whatever, like that's a very good family pick up and play game. So we've been
Yeah.
having some fun with it. I'm very good at musical chairs. I am undefeated. Um, it's also very fun because you get to like enter your own username and photo every time. So like we've had everything from like my dog Scrotum as my son's profile picture to like it's all sorts of stuff. Really, it's pretty great. So D's nuts as usernames. It's all very Nintendo-ish.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just exactly what they want to cater
Wholesome,
to. Yep.
just wholesome. I think the best
Man.
one is the one where you have to do like it's like a photography thing, and it's like here's the like whatever shade of like peach. They're like this is the shade that we're trying to match for this thing. You like have to run around with your camera and like try and take the picture. Like I don't know how it grades it, but like it always causes like just fucking almost blows to happen because we're just like fuck that, mine was closer. And then my son and my wife were cheating where he was taking the picture of the color off of the screen of her phone so that he could like 100% match it. I was like, fuck you, you're fucking cheating. So like, we were screaming about that, and I mean, it was genius. I wish I had.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
but yeah, everybody 1-2 switch is. I wouldn't sleep on it. I would say like if you enjoy family games, don't let that one go. Like it's pretty damn good.
yeah. I have slept on it, so yeah.
I think everybody has for good reason. But having played it now, like this is a good like pick up and play game.
Okay.
I won't say it causes any less like animosity and screaming than like Mario Party does, but it causes it in a different way, which is probably okay. So
at least, yeah, new type of anger.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. Yeah. That. Yeah. I might have to grab that one right before Christmas and get that one.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm hoping for too. Is like hoping like everyone can get together for Christmas because I'd like to get like 20 people in a room and just like divide it up into 2 teams and like everybody just goes nuts. So,
yeah.
We'll see.
We have played more of like that WarioWare game, and there's one mode that has like longer games in it.
Okay.
And that one, the kids really love that one because you know WarioWare gets frustrating because it's like they don't. I mean, by design, you don't necessarily know how to play it right away in the mini games, right? But these longer ones are more drawn out, and so you know exactly what to do, and it's more like skill based.
You played that bullshit like board game mode in that thing?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, I hate that because like if you are the leader, you're like everything you do is punish. You're fucking punished for winning.
I think there's maybe like one positive thing on that whole board.
It just like fucks you in the ass for being good. Like it's the most demoralizing game mode. I can't believe you guys enjoyed that because we're like, oh well, I was winning the whole time, so I was getting pissed because I was like, every time I win, they're like, oh, you won again, Dad. I'm like, no, I just got fucked again. Let's see what my punishment is. And
yeah, my son got to the very end. I think he was 1 or 2 spots away from winning, and then he landed on something and it said, "The end goal is now the start goal."
Oh my god! Yeah. No, we played that one and we did not enjoy it that much.
Yeah, but the games are fun, but
yeah,
yeah,
they're pick up and play. It's great.
Yeah,
hands down. What about this last one you got on here?
Oh yeah, so this is a show on Netflix. It's been out for a while.
Okay.
Probably the most British thing that you could possibly watch.
And what is it?
It's called Cunked on Earth.
Okay, I don't want to try to pronounce it.
And this is it's a girl whose last name is Kunk, I guess. I don't think it really is, but it's presented like a History Channel. Kind of like documentary style of like learning about different things that have happened through history. And then they'll have the segments where they like interview experts and stuff like that. Okay. But it is the most dry British humor. And everything is like they'll state a fact about something. And then it comes with just a joke that will have you split laughing. And it's like every sentence. So they'll be like, you know, talking about something and then they'll have a punchline to it. And then they'll talk about something and have a punchline to it. And then they'll cut to like an interview where it's like, it really feels like a Borat thing where it's like the the other people aren't in on the joke. They think it's like a real interview about whatever historical topic they're talking about.
Okay.
And she is just like trying to like derail it in some of the worst ways,
Okay. So they're not
But
in on it at all, you don't think? Like there's actual
I
interviews?
yeah, there are interviews. I think you'd almost have to. These people must be extremely patient, or they just figured out halfway through that it's a joke.
Sure.
But they'd still respond like really respectfully and be like, no, he's dead. He's not still alive. He can't still be doing things because he is dead. Like common sense stuff, But
And how did you come across this of all things on Netflix?
I don't remember if it was recommended or not, but yeah, it's like 5 episodes or something like that.
Okay. Pretty
It had
newly
me.
added.
I think it's been out for a while. Maybe I think this year, maybe, but yeah, it's been out for a while. It had me rolling on the floor laughing on some of the jokes because it was just, and it's just got like that constant rhythm where it's like as soon as you're done laughing with that joke and you're about to like calm down, they just crack another one, and you're just
Okay.
got a good rhythm for jokes.
Check it out. I'm in need of new shows. So.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's I mean, if you really don't like British humor, you're really not gonna like this type of awkward, straight, dry humor.
I mean, I watched The Mighty Boosh, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty much the least
Yep.
funny thing that you have to make funny on your own.
Yep.
So if they're actually trying to be funny, it might be good.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing. They're still trying to. I mean, they're stating the jokes as if they were facts in
Sure.
in a historical documentary or whatever. But
Well, I could find worse things to watch, I'm sure. So I'll have to maybe check it out.
I think my favorite joke that I heard in that was they were talking about like the Civil War or whatever, and how Abe Lincoln, did his address and everything, and the war was ended, and then it said, but then terrible news happened. He had to go to a play. And he's like, thankfully, somebody put him out of his misery.
Oh my god. Oh, that's awesome. Love it.
That type of humor. Yeah.
I could get behind that. Well, is it time for staff picks?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
All right.
I can go first because mine's going to take about a minute.
Yeah, mine's not very long either, so go for it.
Mine is a game I was reminded of that I really was into when it came out or shortly after, but it's called Super Hexagon, and it is a super, super simple game where you are a triangle in a hexagon that keeps going toward the center. Multiple layers of hexagons are converging on you, and usually one side of the hexagon is open. So you have to spin around the center of the screen so your triangle can go out the one spot in the hexagon that's open.
Okay.
The kicker to it is it's got really good music, really good like bass music, and the hexagons usually converge to the exact center point where you would die, or where you need to clear, I guess, on the beat of the song. So it has a really good rhythm to it, where I think the music, if you play this game without the music, I think it would be detrimental.
Sure.
It's almost like a required thing to help the performance of your gameplay.
You need the rhythm to get into the momentum.
Yep. Sure. Just to know like when you have cleared that shape and you can go to the next one. And it's just a score-based thing, so it's like, well, how many layers did you clear? Eventually, the patterns get a lot more harder to navigate, so you almost have to look ahead to the next thing. It's one of those games where you almost have to like have the muscle memory to do something that you're not quite looking at.
Okay.
And I think that's where the music really helps too. It's because like once you hear that thump or in that line in the music, then you know that you can do the next amount of actions that you can already have lined up in your brain to do without even looking. So that
Sounds
makes
like you just
sense.
like one of those games where you just have to like get in the zone pretty much.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is one of those where it's like you get in the zone and then you get out of the zone, and then it's just like you might as well quit because you're
The
not going to
auto
get
zone.
yeah get in the zone.
So what platform is this on?
I started playing it on mobile a long time ago. But I was reminded of it because I was looking at my Steam library and it's in there, and I played for a little while on there. It's not as using arrow keys just is not as responsive as like on a mobile where you just tap two sides of a screen to go left and right.
Right.
So I found it harder on a PC,
Sure.
but mobile it's really good. It's 99 cents at most if it's a
I was
paid
gonna
app
say, like,
even.
for some reason I must have seen it on a sale or maybe like the Switch library because like I can picture the cover art, like the title, like, and
Yep.
I've just never really looked into it. So
Yep. And you hit reset and you're immediately right into it again. So it's like really fast.
nice
Super simple, but
and cheap. Can't beat that.
yep.
My staff pick, just going with a new store over in Dilworth named Chill. Um, you know, Minnesota being the great state it is, um, has some legal things, much like a state called Colorado, which is I'm also applauding today for eliminating pieces of shit off of their presidential ballots. That's good on you, Colorado. But
Don't applaud Minnesota. We got a shitty new state flag. So
well, Colorado also has Lauren and Bobert, so it's tough to explain.
yeah,
But,
that's true.
yeah, what's with the flag debate? I looked at the three finalists.
Oh, it's
It's
done
smoking.
now.
They're terrible. What's the final one they went with?
It is it's like three shapes. It's just
Okay, it's like
a blue background,
okay,
and then a light blue arrow, and then a star.
I know the one you're talking about. That one sucks.
It's awful.
It's so much worse than what you had.
Yeah.
But yeah, this store, I don't know. I'm not a big like that person kind of guy. We don't need to get into it on the show.
The culture.
But but if I like to go to sleep, it helps me relax. It does that. They sell things at a reasonable prices that are very effective. I had a seltzer followed by a gummy one night. And then 2 hours later, I spent 30 minutes dissecting a Cheez-Its commercial and laughing my ass off the entire time. It's a Cheez-It commercial where inexplicably a man's trapped on a mountain and then somehow like mid-rescue breaks through his harness and he's like face first eating Cheez-Its.
Yep.
I kept asking my wife, I was like, but what was the catalyst? Like, what was the accident that got him there? She's like, they don't say. I'm like, but why did he leave his rescue? I was like, why didn't the rescue people throw the Cheez-Its? Why did they go up there to begin with? It was like the best 30 minutes of like nonsensical, like I'm in the right mind space for this talk. So if you want to have that mind
you were
space,
being a bit much.
yeah, I was being a bit much. Well, Jill was finally like, I'm glad when you're high because like you have the same sense of humor that I do. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I have to make myself dumber to get your sense of humor. She didn't appreciate that, but yeah, I don't know. They have a brand of gummies called Hibernate. Well, that's not the brand, but there's a flavor called Hibernate, which is specifically made to help you just like sleep well through the night, which is 100% what I'm advocating for because I don't like walking around like popping these like all day long, but like on a weekend or like a weeknight where I've had a lot going on, like man, it really helps. So
yeah.
but chill. It's called it. It's basically like walking into the foreman's basement, and I'm not exaggerating at all. Like
Oh
they
wow.
have built walls to close off all the glass storefront. You walk back, it's like 70s themed furniture, and like vinyl records and 8 tracks, and like the lights are very dim. Very friendly people.
That's cool.
Yeah, very friendly people. Go in, get what you need, leave.
See, that's where I feel like you could sell a Sega Genesis for $200.
Yes. Well, what I really want to do is go there one afternoon because like they're in the same parking lot as an all-you-can-eat pizza buffet and a DQ. So I'd like to like get there, have a couple gummies, and just wait around for like 2 hours for it to kick in, and then hit the pizza buffet, and then immediately go get the largest blizzard I could
Yeah.
after this. So, but I don't know. I feel like a felon every time I like go there though, because it's like driving across the border. It's like like what a stupid reason to get like a drug offense. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm talking about weed for anyone who's
It's
not familiar. Not even like real weed, like Delta 9 stuff, like whatever. And I don't do it all the time. It's sparingly. Weekends. Don't judge me. It's great. You can enjoy Cheez-Its. And sleep really well, which is what I like.
It's making Moorhead great again. Or Dilworth in this case.
Dilworth, yeah. Nothing can make Moorhead great again. All right. Well, time for the weekend rental. Unfortunately. So, the weekend rental, for anyone who's unfamiliar, we pick a game for a given system, we play it, we give our opinions as to whether we would personally buy, rent, or burn that game. By burn, we mean light it on fire. The system of choice this go around is the always awful Nintendo 64. And the game we're going to be talking about is Jet Force Gemini by Rare. Yeah. It's an over-the-shoulder third-person action shooter on the 64, which, keep in mind, everyone was the generation of 3D gaming while we were still trying to figure out how 3D gaming worked and also how controls and cameras worked in that regard.
Yeah, and I thought
they'd say Rare didn't quite nail it.
No, they did pretty good on GoldenEye, and then I think they got a bit too big in their britches and thought they could do third person.
Yeah.
And I don't think they stuck the landing on that.
It's just like, for the most part, they got it right? Like they got kind of like the Doom controls right for anything on the ground. It's like, as long as you're facing in the general direction you shoot, it's going to work. But then they're like, all right, now we have to have all these like aerial enemies that require you to 100% expose yourself from any cover, and then like horribly fight this loose ass's like targeting stick to try and get a shot on, which would be fine when it's one or two enemies, which is how it starts out. But then it presents you with like walls of like 20 enemies.
And they're all shooting, yeah.
And they're all shooting at you, and you have to be exposed unless there's like some god level way to play this game that I don't understand. But it completely ruins the gameplay.
Yeah, it's that I almost every time I died, it was something like that. The flying guys. There is like, I think they want you to do a lot more cover stuff in here, but I don't know how you would do it. I mean, they have boxes and a whole bunch of stuff laying around.
But there isn't like a lean out from cover mode, is there?
No. I mean, there's a kneel down and like go to prone, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand what you would use that for necessarily.
Which, let's talk about that, because like, obviously the N64 had one stick and like the camera controls, which is, I assume, how you were doing that. But like, when you port it to something like Switch Online, when it's two dual sticks, like you're trying to play it like you'd think you would a modern game, but all that right dual stick is doing is like fucking me over. Like, I'm basically like going prone and like humping the ground and like rolling around when I'm not trying to. So you like really have to be very spot on and like only go left and right with that left or that right stick. Otherwise you're having a bad time.
Yeah. I don't know why they did that, because that right stick is like the C buttons, I think, right?
I would assume.
And yeah, the C buttons, putting them on a stick is rough, because some of those are very different actions. One of them is strafe and the other one is like lay down. Like, those are two very different actions.
Well, and your jump is tethered to it too, right? Like up is jump on that, which is like, this feels bad.
Yeah. And you said over the shoulder, but
it's more behind the back
for the most part. Yeah, it is behind the back, but at the same time, if you turn your character, you're looking at the screen again.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
true.
you can very easily get the camera out of sync of where the guy is. Luckily, a lot of the levels, at least I saw, are somewhat linear, like where you're going to go. So there's not a lot of turning around. But if there are enemies like flanking you, it gets to become a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the general premise of this game, like for anyone who's unfamiliar, is like you're a space trio, like you're just an outer space, like vigilante or do-gooders, and you get an interception call from like this planet in danger of koalas, I think they are, being attacked by giant ants.
Not Ewoks.
Right, not Ewoks. There's certainly not a guy that gives you wisdom that looks like
Yeah.
Yoda at all. That wouldn't be a thing. But the best way I could describe this game for anyone who hasn't played it and is thinking about it is imagine Earth Defense Force, but instead of being an almighty insect killing unstoppable beast, you're weak as shit and your real enemy isn't the insects, it's the controls. And that's Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah. It's like Starship Troopers, right? Where you're just awful. Or
Yes.
what's that Tom Cruise one where he drops into war for the first time and he's like,
right, except
not,
those things
not
are
a
at
real
least
soldier.
funny.
Yeah.
This isn't any of those. Like I could see what they were going for with this game, and like the fact that there's stuff in there like the widescreen mode, like built in on an N64 game, is pretty cool. But like they just botched the controls so much that
it was too ambitious for what they were trying to do. Yeah. This game was hyped up like crazy. I remember so much hype on this game.
When it was rare, they had on the 64, it was like their ultimate track record, right? Like,
yeah. And I mean the storytelling and the cutscenes and all, all that stuff looks pretty good. It looks pretty good for what they were, they were doing some pretty good world building, I guess.
Yeah, it's all serviceable. It just makes you wonder where they fell apart. Like, did they just give up on it at some point? Was there like a rush deadline? Because you can't tell me that somebody like play tested this and was like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to see more of the game in spite of itself, but at some point I had to be like, I can't do this anymore. You know what
I mean? I felt like I couldn't put the time in to have my brain figure out that type of control. And like you said, I think there's just some situations where it's just like, well, if you want to shoot and move at the same time, it was pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
I quit on the Switch one after I couldn't deal with the controls. I read that they patched in different controls on the version in the Rare Replay on Xbox.
Sure.
So I downloaded that and I'm like, this is ready to go. This sounds like, oh yeah, there's modern controls. It's going to be dual stick. It's going to be perfect. That's all it needs is dual stick, and this is going to be a great game. It does kind of do dual stick, but the dual stick is more strafing than it is camera movement. So it is kind of moving the camera, but at the same time, you are strafing left or right whenever you're moving the camera around.
So how does that work then with like the zoom? Like that doesn't eliminate that problem where you like
no,
have to be
that's
exposed and...
yeah, that's still you're stopped and shooting, or at least for me. I think the one thing I could never get over is the reticle is so touchy.
Yes.
And I can kind of like when I think back of how an N64 controller feels, like the resistance it has to back to center, I can kind of see that being a little bit more reasonable to that controller. But on a modern controller, holy crap. And then when you're trying to do a machine gun and it's jumping all over the place, and it's not a good outcome.
No, and like even if they would have just done like another option to be like you get unlimited continues instead of just like the 2 lives on the stages, that probably would have been enough for me to like, okay, I can get over the bullshit controls as long as I can still progress. But like it's just so punishing. Like when I,
Yeah.
I got to that like 4 hour mark or wherever I did, and 4 or 5 ish, and I hit that dead end. And I was like, I'm gonna have to backtrack to the start of this level. I mean, no, I'm just not.
Yeah. And ultimately that's what ended my play was the padded out backtracking.
Mhm.
It's not even like, a Zelda or a Metroid or something like that where it's interesting and you have new powers. It's like, okay, I understand this. It's literally just keys. You're getting a new key.
You need a green
And
key, red key.
yeah, and that part where I was just a little bit kind of stunned that that was the design that they went with, like
Yeah.
they saw all what Ocarina of Time did, and then they're like, yeah, let's just do keys.
Yeah, and every stage has like one asset to it. You know what I mean? Like this is jungle, everything looks like jungle. This is
Hmm.
spaceship, everything's chrome. So it's like there's nothing even interesting progressing room to room. It's just so bland.
Yeah,
It
it
sucks.
and it would playing it on modern systems too. They've done work to the graphics, so
Sure.
it's like it's 4K, and then like some of the smaller polygons look excellent because they're small and they have small images on them, and then you have these giant, like a wall is like one flat polygon and it's one stretched image. It it doesn't look quite right together.
Which speaking of polygons and like images and polygon sizes, did it strike you as odd that they seem to have spent a decent amount of time constructing the breasts on the female character?
Hmm.
Because those were
Yeah.
pretty well defined for an N64 game that is
Yeah.
like cartoonish.
Yeah, this I wonder if they were trying to do some of that.
The Conker's Bad Fur Day, like the flower
Laura Croft.
tits.
Yeah, Laura Croft.
Ah,
Well, they want that type of.
no triangular boobies around here. These are rounded because it's
Yeah.
64.
Um, on the rare replay, there's it's obviously in 4:3, so they put a border around it, a graphic border, and that skirt that they have, whatever key art they have on that border, the skirt on that girl is it's not. It's, she had to shave like to not.
Well, and like the game isn't even about that, so it's like why emphasize that one character to that extent? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's so wild. Yeah, I I remember trying to get into playing this before, and whether it was the 64 or the rare replay collection, I just remember having the same distinct problem of like I hate these controls so much, like I just can't even. And like I'm glad I pushed through a little bit further. I think if I was really being honest with myself, this would be one of those games where like I'd have picked up in a bargain bin and probably like made myself had a good time with it. But like I don't know. This is like to me this is the N64's answer to Blasto. Except at least Blasto had Phil Hartman and some good
Yeah.
lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If this was like if they would have just taken the GoldenEye thing and made it
Yeah.
first person, this would have been a great game.
Or why not zoom to first person for like those precision shots? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like why? That's all it needed. Like that's what broke the game. The rest of it was uninteresting but fun enough and like straightforward enough. But the precise aiming with the zoom thing, like just
And
fucking
just
ruins it. And the camera,
or just yeah, just have even in like Super Mario 64 camera if you just had the like click to
recenter.
zoom to yeah,
Yes.
or any type of that thing.
Yeah,
Or
like the
even
behind
just
the back
90
button.
degrees or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you spend more time like in those tight areas, just like running in circles and shooting and hoping that eventually he auto locks onto whatever ant is in front of you
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
can't fucking see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Yeah. So much money probably went into this, and it was just like, what? I don't know why they wouldn't have fixed that
Yeah,
core problem because
yeah,
it doesn't work. Like,
yeah. I mean, fundamentally, it comes down to like this is an average premise with an average game that is just completely broken by fucking awful controls.
yeah,
But yeah, well, I guess with that said, what's your rating? Buy, rent, or burn on this thing?
it's a burn. This game it's broken. It's almost unplayable to me. You play GoldenEye even a modern gamer who's never played GoldenEye, it's going to be weird to him first because one joystick or whatever. But you get used to it. This game, I don't think you could get used to it in any reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
And then some of the games is just broken that way too.
Yep. Yeah, I second that exactly. Yeah, it's a burn. There should be something redeemable there in spite of everything, but like, and maybe there was if you played it back in the day, but there's no reason or justification for it now other than it's a footnote in a long forgotten golden age of a company that hasn't put out a game that anyone cares about in years. So
that's pretty much their only dud on 64.
Yeah. And then they saved it all for grab by the ghoulies.
They should make Diddy Kong Racing again. Diddy Kong should get another game. That guy got one game and then it was done.
Well, there was a DS one, wasn't there?
Was there? Maybe.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe
I don't know if that's a remake or what.
I want to see there was a GBA one.
Okay.
Or was there a Game Boy Color's Conquer? I don't know. Maybe that was canceled. Maybe I don't know.
There was, Conquer originally was a Game Boy, like a kiddie Game Boy game.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, I guess it's an episode. So shitty squirrels or not.
Yep. Well, don't buy into the hype because we both got burned on the hype of Jet Force Gemini. But that if you want to email us, you can email us at weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. We're at Twitter or X. And then until next time, be kind, rewind.